You're live with me, TSV, and I'm always everywhere you want to be. I know. I've been gone for a minute now. I'm back with the jump off. It's like, no. I know it has been so long. It really has. Life has been lifing. Stuff has been happening, and your girl been tired. Okay. And I have not been feeling well. I've been having problems with my back, but that is no excuse because clearly I get up and go to work every day. But I'm back, y'all. I'm back and I'm better. Welcome to Tiff Talks. I hope you all have been doing very well. Like I said, it's been a minute, and I had I was doing small group with my church, which happened to be on my nights that I would record, but that's no excuse because there's 6 other nights, right? It was going on the nights when I would go live, but I could record. I'm without excuse. Yes, I'm in a play. I have a play that I'm doing, that I'm in. I'm not producing this play, but I'm in this play. And we've been having play practice, but that's not an excuse because I mean there are 5 more days outside of the days that I have rehearsal. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know y'all miss me. Or should I say, did you miss me? I know I miss y'all. It's been so much going on that I could have jumped on here and talked about in the past month. Baby, I've had stuff written up, I've had scripts written up, but I just could not push through. Has anybody else had those kind of issues when it comes to doing things for yourself and your business? That is like the whole world comes and like sucks it up and you can't push through for yourself. Like you may be there for your 9 to 5 or whatever job you have going on. You're there for your children. I don't have kids yet. You're there for your spouse. I'm not married yet. You're there for whomever, whatever, whenever. And you just have not pushed through for yourself. Well, that's me. If you're like me, go ahead, drop me a comment in the comment section and let me know if that's your battle too. Because that is what I've been battling with, what I have been struggling with is pulling through and coming through for me. But hopefully not hopefully, we won't speak prophetic. The buck stops here. So how's everything been going on since we last been together? It's been a month. I haven't talked to y'all. I ain't seen y'all. Like I see some people at work and they have been consistently asking me, Tiffany, what your Tiff talk? You gonna do a Tiff talk on that? From conversations that I've had with some people at work. And I'm like, yeah, but I ain't make it happen. I also had, what else did I have going on? I was preparing for my portfolio and like just ending the school, trying to end the school year. Then I'm a part of the yearbook again, the yearbook team at my job, which I kind of came on kind of last minute, but I was just putting things together. But again, I am without excuse because baby, if I can do it all for them, I need to take care of it for me too. So if y'all are like me, if you have that struggle, especially women, we oftentimes have a hard time taking care of ourselves and putting ourselves first and doing what we need to do for ourselves first. But the buck stops here. Um, but tonight, there's so many things I could talk about. I could talk about the Kendrick and Drake beef. I could talk about take it back, like the beef altogether that's going on in hip hop. But what's his name? Chris Brown dropped a diss track embedded in some of the rappers I didn't heard, but can't talk about Chris Brown because of his past. Or I could talk about just the whole culture of hip hop right now, how everybody beefing. I mean, Sukiyani. See, I don't even know these people names, so that's probably why I can't talk about it. But Suki just made a diss track against one of the city girls, the one that was stealing and all that stuff. She had a diss track come out about that. I could talk about that, but listen, I have not done a deep dive yet. I was talking to one of my coworkers, and she was like, "What you feel about the Kendrick and Drake beef?" And I can't tell her what I feel because y'all, I don't know. And no, before you say you getting old, you washed up. I just have not been keeping up with it. I'm gonna be honest. I ain't kept up with the beef. I did hear Suki's diss track to the city girl who's not a city girl no more. And when I tell you that thing was hilarious, y'all go look. If you haven't heard it, go check it out because baby, they got Sukiyani singing on it. And when I say it took me out of here, it took me out of here. So I could talk about that, but I'm not. I could talk about a few other things, but I'm not. But tonight, I'm going to talk about something that's very near and dear to my heart. I'll talk about it every year in the month of May, and that is because a lot of people are unaware of May being Mental Health Awareness Month. It is Mental Health Awareness Month, the whole month of May. So my Tiff Talks for the remainder of the month will be talking about mental health. I will be talking to a vet, an Army vet, and I will be talking to a comedian because laughter is good for the soul, and you just never know who else might turn up on this in Tigo. And if y'all don't know what Tigo is, that means y'all ain't been rocking with me. Y'all know Tigo is Tiffany's Ego, aka that is my up and coming studio room. Is my guest room right now, but you know I'm in the process of turning it into a studio room. So that's where I am now. Let's see what else has been going on in my life. I didn't gave you the update about school, and that's really it. Except for this sciatic nerve has been getting on my last nerve, y'all. My sciatic nerve hurts so bad. So I stayed with my sister in March. Shout out to my sister Ashley. I stayed with her in March, and ever since I stayed with her, not saying it ain't no diss, no shade, no tea to my sister, but my sciatic nerve has been acting completely up. But they don't act. She don't act up until at night, and then she wants to scream and holler and kick all night long. It's been interrupting my rest, and I haven't been wanting to get up in the morning. But we here. And nothing else major has really went on in my life since the last time we talked. I did take my students on 2 field trips, so that was pretty interesting. Yeah, that was pretty interesting. They had a great time. We went to DC on both field trips. We went to the National History Museum in March, and then we went to the zoo in April, and that was pretty cool. Seeing the kids have a ball with that, and just getting everything together for that. That was pretty awesome. And what else has been going on? Oh, I am in a play. Like I said, I'm doing a play, but we'll talk more about that play later. But let's jump into Mental Health Awareness Month. So tonight is just going to be a little bit of an introduction on Mental Health Awareness Month, but we are going to dive deep into children's mental health because today is actually the day for where we well, I was going to say notify, where we address and we talk about children's mental health. Today is the nationwide day for children's mental health awareness. But let's talk about a little bit about mental health awareness. So a lot of us struggle with mental health issues, and we are not even aware of that. But we're going to talk a little bit more about different mental health issues throughout the month of May. But I just want to give you the origin of it. So the National Alliance of Mental Illness says since 1949, mental health awareness has been a cornerstone of addressing the challenges faced by millions of Americans living with mental health conditions. This year's theme was Take Your Moment, and that was the campaign for this year, Take Your Moment. But today is Children's Mental Health Awareness Day. So, do you all know any children that are dealing with or suffering with mental health issues? If you say no, that's because that's something we don't talk about. And when I say we, it's kind of overlooked and forgotten when it comes to mental health disorders within children. And a lot of times, most of the times, we think about the common mental health disorder in children, which will be ADD and ADHD. That's the one we know about. That's the one we talk about. But there are so many other mental health disorders that children face today that we don't talk about, or that is a stigma. Is a stigma for parents. Some parents to have a child that has mental health issues. So instead of getting help for it, they sweep it under the rug and they think that, oh, my child will grow out of it. When statistically, you don't grow out of mental health illnesses. You do not grow out of them. In fact, they worsen and turn into different disorders as you get older. Then we have the parents who think they can beat it out of them. Let me just whip my kids. Now, I'm not against whippings or anything like that. Spare the rod for the child, but I'm also not for beating your child to death. And I'm also not for beating your child for having a mental health disorder that you don't want to address. Because the more you beat them, things are not going to change. This is not scientific. This is not medical. This is just Tiffany's opinion on that. They're not going to change when you whoop them. It's just going to make it worse. But anyway, also you have the people who are just in denial and they don't know because they may have grown up suffering from a mental health illness as a child, never got help, never got diagnosed with anything. So that it's just normal. And sometimes mental health disorders become normalized in families because the family is full of people who have these same disorders or had them as a young child, and it was just normal for them. They never sought help. They never asked to change their ways. It was just the normal thing for them to act the way they act without getting any help, without getting any diagnosis. I'm not, or some people who may need medication or just learning different practices to deal with their mental health issues. So, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the most popular mental health disorders within children. Do you know that there are about every 1 in 15 child has a mental health diagnosis or is in need of a mental health diagnosis? Did y'all know that? Yeah, that's true. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to dive a little bit deeper into mental health within children. Y'all ready? Y'all coming with me? Come on, let's go. so, this is going to be everything that I'm going to share with you on my screen. This is according to the CDC. This ain't according to Tiffany or whatever. This is actually data from the CDC, and y'all will be able to look for yourself. There we go. So, anxiety and depression is one of the major, that is um, the first one on the list. And not because it's just in alphabetical order, but because so many children nowadays are suffering from anxiety and depression. It is, I'm not going to say crazy, but it's a lot. And definitely post COVID. Post COVID, children's anxiety they went through the roof. Because can you imagine, like, especially for the littles, I work with first graders. So, what? First graders were kind of born, they weren't born into COVID, but they were about what, 2 or 3 when COVID happened. And they had to spend the beginning of their lives inside of a house every day, all day, worried about what's going to happen. But let's take a look at it. Anxiety. When a child does not outgrow, so let's go back. Many children have fears and worries and may feel sad and hopeless from time to time. Strong fears may appear at different times during development. For example, toddlers are often very distressed about being away from their parents, even if they are safe and cared for. Although fears and worries are typical in um, persistent or extreme forms of fear and sadness could be due to anxiety or depression. Because the symptoms primarily involve thoughts and feelings, they are sometimes called internalized disorders. So when anxiety doesn't go away, when the fear does not go away, when the fear does not go away, that oftentimes turns into anxiety. Anxiety can come from being very afraid when your parents are away, having extreme fears about specific things or situations such as dogs, insects, or going to doctors, different phobias, being very afraid of school and other places where there are people, like social anxiety, being very worried about the future and about bad things happening, that's general anxiety, and having repeated episodes of sudden, unexpected, intense fears that comes with symptoms like heart pounding, heavy breathing or trouble breathing, feeling dizzy, shaky, or sweaty, panic disorder. Anxiety may present itself as fear or worry, but can also make children irritable and angry. Anxiety sometimes can also include trouble sleeping as well as physical symptoms like fatigue, headaches, stomach aches, and some anxious children keep their worries to themselves and thus sometimes can be missed. So let's talk a little bit more about anxiety. Now, I gave you the run of the mill, what we talked about I read to you those things with anxiety, but as a teacher and being someone who was always around children, my mom worked in education. I was what was I at my church? I was the youth coordinator at my church. I was a praise and worship leader for the youth and young adult choir. I directed youth and young adult choir. I um, taught youth Bible study. So I've been around children for a very long time. And I've been doing that since I was a young adult. And I'm telling you, I have not seen cases of anxiety so bad since I've seen them now. Like COVID has really did they really COVID really did a number on students or children on being anxious, and that's because anxiety showed up in a lot of adults post COVID or during COVID. A lot of adults didn't even know that they struggled or dealt with anxiety until COVID, and then post COVID, yeah, I'm telling you. But one that I would like to hash in on is social anxiety. So oftentimes when students or children deal with social anxieties, they are dealing with different um, things with not being able to socialize. And we can see that as early as 1 and 2 years old. They may not be diagnosed with it until they get older, but it is a real thing. It's something that children do not grow out of. So you may feel like my child, oh, they're gonna be okay. They don't like being around people. They'll be okay. They'll be okay. But that is definitely something that you would want to go and talk to your pediatrician about. Let your child visit their pediatrician and let their pediatrician tell you what steps you can take. If there's medication your child can take for social anxiety, it's not just putting your child around more children. Like you can put your child around more children and think that that's going to cure their social anxiety, but it's just going to make it worse. It's going to make it worse on the child and it's going to make it worse on you. Not slay into or give into the fact, oh, that they are they struggle with, they don't get along with kids, so they don't have to. No, I'm not saying that. It's a very fine line and there's a balance that you have to have when dealing with children who struggle with social anxiety. And I can't speak from a parent standpoint, but I can speak from an education standpoint. Um, yeah, you have to like work your way into it. But visiting your physician and getting your pediatricians with anxiety with adults and children as well. Some ways that we can work through our anxiety is, of course, doing different breathing exercises, kind of talking ourselves down, calming ourselves down, finding something else in the room to focus on instead of focusing on what's causing you to be anxious. And that's easy. That's hard for us. It's easier said than done for us. So can you imagine a little going through that? I'm not going to deep dive into my class, of course, I'm not. But I know some children who struggle with social anxiety. They don't talk about that within the the schism or the grand scheme of things when it comes to social anxiety. And then the depression part, oftentimes we may see what's in their mind that causes them to be depressed. And we don't know as parents or as adults, as educators, we may miss that whole sign. We may just think that they're sad. Another sign of depression, just like in adults, depression is not always crying, is not always moping, is not always being sad. But sometimes if you see a child that is playful, that's bubbly and upbeat, and they go from being playful, bubbly, and upbeat to not wanting to do the things that they normally do, that may be a sign of depression. Also, if a child's eating patterns and eating habits change, that could too be a sign of depression that you should watch out for. And depression is not a physician and I'm not a nurse, so I can't even tell. I'm not a therapist, a psychologist, or none of that. So I can't even sit here and tell you, yeah, you just get your child medicated on that. They should take medicine for this, or you maybe you should reduce their sugar intake, or you should do this. I'm not that person. That ain't my lane. That ain't my vein. But what I can tell you is what I see as someone who's always been around children. Things is like diet, could play a part in it. Things like what they watch could play a part of it. The people they're around can play a part of how they feel. Um, that could make them depressed, or just the case of the SADS, or anxiety. So those are some things that you can look for when your child may be struggling with anxiety. And there's help out there. I'll give you the link at the end, or I'll take you to the page at the end, so you can look at some things that can help your child with that, some different coping mechanisms that can help your child with that. And I also have to say that if you're a parent or a guardian who has a child that's struggling with mental health illnesses, or anxiety and depression as a whole, don't be afraid to utilize your child's guidance counselors in school. In school, guidance counselors can make a world of difference for the way your child sees other people around them, sees the world around them. They are amazing assets in the school system. So if your child is dealing with something like that and you don't know where to go, or you may not have the insurance, to get your child the proper therapy that they need, please don't sleep on guidance counselors, because guidance counselors are the bomb.com. They make our schools go around, and they make our children feel safe and comfortable to talk to them. And that's when you may find out, okay, my child is dealing with this, and they'll give you the different tools you need to help your child. They'll give you different information that you can people that you can go to and call outside of the school, that can help your child that's struggling with different mental health and different mental health disorders, or even to be diagnosed with that mental health disorder. Now, listen, a lot of the mental health disorders that we see as adults, we don't see them as children, because they start off one way and end up another. Most mental health disorders that we have as adults are not really diagnosed until about 15, 16. ADHD and ADD are a little bit different. OCD as well. We'll get to that. We'll get to all of those alphabets in just a few minutes. But they can be diagnosed at an early age. But some of the other ones, they don't. We don't get a clinical diagnosis or a name put to them until you're about 16, 17, 18, some 21. And they worsen as time goes on if you don't get the proper help and treatment for those. But anyway, moving right along, let's see what else. Let me go back to my sharing my screen. Let's see some other disorders that children may be dealing with mental health disorders. And listen, the stigma and the shame ends tonight, because just because your child is dealing with a mental health disorder does not mean you have to be ashamed about it. Does not mean you can't talk about it. Does not mean that you did something as a parent. Let me stop sharing for a second. Let's go there. Because oftentimes as parents, now I'm not a parent. I don't have no chip, I don't have no chip, no chap, no nothing. But oftentimes, just from talking to people and being a listening ear, and even if you look at statistics, parents will feel ashamed because they feel like it's something that they have done for their child to have this mental health issue or this mental health disorder. And I'm here to stop the stigma with that now. That's not true. Hey, Q. That's not true, and that's not always the case. In fact, it's not always the case. Now, some mental health issues and some mental health disorders are hereditary. Some of them, it is really is in your genes, but not all of them. So I want the stigma to stop tonight, that, oh, I need to be embarrassed about my child's diagnosis, or I can't talk to my child about this, or I can't tell my people that my child acts like this, because you know that ends tonight. Parents, let me let you know, it's not your fault. It is not your fault. And even if it is your fault, if it's in your genes, that's something that you can't change. The only thing you can change is your reaction to it. So instead of being reactive, you can be proactive. And what I'm saying is, you don't react in a sour or sad way because your child may wind up with a mental health diagnosis. That's just like if your child ends up sick with something else. Mental health disorders is a sickness. It is an illness. So just like any other sickness or illness that your child may have, as parents, you do feel heavy. You do feel down about that, but you can't constantly blame yourself for that. But you can be proactive in watching the signs and symptoms in your children. You can be proactive in getting the help that they need, and not reactive. But if you happen to be reactive, we're going to react in a way that gets our children help instead of reacting in a way that will cause your child to shrink in or feel bad about themselves. But let's go back and take a look at some other mental health disorders that children face. I hope y'all are having a good time. Thank you for joining me tonight. Go ahead, drop it, hop in my comment section, talk to me. Don't make me talk about myself, but y'all know I can because I mean, I was in radio for off and on for how many years? I was always talking to myself. But anyway, another one that we want, touched on depression a little bit. Now, this one right here, oppositional defiant disorder. Let's take a look at that because a lot of people have never even heard of ODD, and you think your child is just out here being bad or a hellion or whatever y'all negative things y'all say about your children. That ain't me. I don't even like calling kids bad. I like to speak life over children, but children who may have, if you're a life speaker like me and you say problematic behavior, you isn't some children are not just having problematic behavior. Some children really are going through a mental health disorder called oppositional defiant disorder. So as we're reading, when children act out persistently so that it causes serious problems at home, in school, or with peers, they may be diagnosed with oppositional defiant disorder, ODD. ODD usually starts before 8 years of age, but no later than by about 12 years of age. Children with ODD are more likely to act oppositional or defiant around people they know well, such as family members, a regular care provider, or a teacher. Children with ODD show these behaviors more often than other children their age. Examples of ODD: often being angry or losing one's temper, often arguing with adults or refusing to comply with adults' rules or requests, often resentful or spiteful, deliberately annoying others or becoming annoyed with others, often blaming other people for one's own mistake. So we'll talk about conduct disorder a little bit more in a few minutes. But here's the thing with ODD. Now, you may just have some students who, or children, I'm always talking from a teacher standpoint because I don't have kiddos yet. But you may see your child or a child and they are acting a plum fool. And just because they're acting a plum fool does not mean that they have oppositional defiant disorder. That it's definitely just like anxiety and depression is a fine line on how to deal with it and treat it. ODD is a fine line as well because you have, it says early as age 8. Now let's think about the kids that we know at 8. They like to test things, they like to push the limit, they like to try their hand at things, they like to try their parents, they definitely like to try their teachers. But it's not just a trying thing. It's a constant behavior. Sometimes children around that age are following their peers, and so you'll see behavior as parents or as teachers, as caregivers. You'll see things in your children that you never saw before, but that's because they're picking up things from their peers, or they're doing behaviors, or they're mimicking behaviors that their peers show. But it's ODD is so much deeper than that. But if you are seeing it on a consistent basis, or if you're hearing about it on a consistent basis from your child's teacher, is definitely something that you should look into. And you'll often hear, oh, my light fell. Hold up. You'll often hear me tonight, you'll often hear me referring to or telling you to get a doctor's opinion. I'm not telling you to medicate your child. I'm not telling you what to do with your child, but I am saying to let your child see a pediatrician. And y'all already know me, I'm more of a holistic person. I don't like taking a lot of medicines, but sometimes children and adults need that medication. And sometimes you can do it holistically. I'm not telling you which one to do, because you ain't gonna say Tiffany said, Miss Vincent said, Star said. No, 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 that's not what we're gonna do. I'm just giving you my opinion on different things and telling you that if your child is showing these signs and symptoms, to let them see their pediatrician. And most of the time, when a child is getting tested for a mental health disorder or ADD, ADHD, or any of those things, they're going to send a form to your child's teacher, so the teacher can talk about the day to day and go from there. It's never too late to find out. It's never too late to get help. It's never too late to take your child to a pediatrician if you think that your child is experiencing any of these symptoms with any of the mental disorders or mental health issues that we're discussing tonight. Let's go back to conduct disorder. I'm going to be going back and forth between sharing my screen and being on screen tonight, if that's all right with y'all. And I ain't going to stay on it too much longer because I got to talk about Teacher Appreciation Week. Okay. So let's take a peek more about behavior and conduct disorder. Now, like ODD, conduct disorder is diagnosed when children show an ongoing pattern of aggression. Hear that? Ongoing pattern of aggression towards others and serious violations of rules and social norms at home, in school, and with peers. These rules violations may involve. Wait, I done lost myself. These rules violations may involve breaking the law and result in arrest. Children with CD are more likely to get injured and may have difficulties getting along with peers. Examples of conduct disorder behaviors include breaking serious rules such as running away, staying out at night when told not to, or skipping school. Being aggressive in ways that cause harm, such as bullying, fighting, or being cruel to animals. Lying, stealing, or damaging other people's properties. Now, here I'm going to read about some different treatments for disruptive behavior disorder. Starting treatment early is important. Treatment is more effective if it fits the needs of the specific child and family. The first step to treatment is to talk with healthcare providers. Mm-mm. Uh-oh. I saw my light going like my computer about to die. But that's all right. I got my charger right here. Thank y'all for rocking with me tonight. It is just, I ain't gonna say a hot mess. Cause it ain't, cause I'm cute, right? See my lipstick? Anyway, there we go. We're back on track. Some of the signs of behavior, let me go back. A comprehensive evaluation by a mental health professional may be needed to get the right diagnosis. Some of the signs of behavior problems, such as not following rules in school, could be related to learning problems, which may lead to additional intervention. For younger children, the treatment with strongest evidence is behavior therapy training for parents, where a therapist helps the parents learn effective ways to strengthen the parent and child relationship and respond to the child's behavior. For school age children and teens, an often used effective treatment is a combination of training therapy that includes the child, the family, and the school. Here's some different ways you can get help. The psychologist locator, child and adolescent psychiatrist finder, and find a cognitive behavior therapist. But let's go back and talk a little bit more about CD. Well, we dealt with CD when we talked about ODD. But I want to tell you that it is nothing wrong with getting your child a therapist and getting them into those different therapeutic settings. It's a world of difference. And there's also another thing that I want to talk about. Let me take my screen off of screen share for just 1 second. Here's another thing that I want to talk to you about. It is something called a parent educator. I know that my hometown in Lawrenceville, Virginia, and the surrounding areas, Brunswick County, Greensville County, Mecklenburg County, we can even go as far as Petersburg. We can actually go as far as we want to because of the internet now. Has parent educators through a program called Parents as Teachers. Parents as Teachers within the Brunswick County area, not where I am in Maryland, y'all. But I know that there's probably a Parents as Teachers program or something like that in the area. It's for early childhood. It's for, I think they take parent educators go start from birth to 4 or birth to 5, and then there's other programs that you can do. But also there you can get not just a parent educator, you can get a parent educator that may be court appointed. And if you're parenting classes is what I'm talking about, not parent educator. With parenting classes, you can get them at any age for your child if you need it. Listen, there's nothing wrong with taking a class to help you better understand your child. Is nothing wrong with it at all. I'm not a parent yet. I'm not a mommy yet. I don't have kids at this moment. I have help with my brother and sister, my nephew, and all the kids that come along my way. Um, but I know that parenting does not come with a manuscript. They will give you a new car. Your new car is gonna come with a manuscript. You're gonna or a booklet, something, a new phone. But parenting does not come with that. But you can take parenting classes. And if you're looking for a parent educator or someone to give you parenting classes, let me go ahead and put a shameless plug for my mama, the Honorable Mayor LaWanda Vincent Tatum. She's out of Brunswick County, but I mean, she has done work as far as in the Petersburg, Richmond area. But because of the internet, she could do parenting classes anywhere. She is a certified parent educator. She trains the educators to be parent educators, and she's also a court appointed parent. Um, I was gonna say parent teacher, but she's a court appointed parenting coach. So if you need parenting coaching, if you don't want to say you need therapy for, if you're not taking your child to therapy, or even if you are, but you're just kind of lost in the sauce of what to do with your child, it could be a mental health disorder. It could be just regular, or it could be, listen, this is my first child and I have no clue. Let me let you know that LaWanda Vincent Tatum is the woman for you. And you can check out all of the things that she does on her website at lawandatatum.com. And she has it on her website where you can schedule parenting classes with her. And I'm telling you, it'll change your life. She my mama, and I mean, I turned out pretty awesome. And she's mama to other two, and they're pretty awesome as well. So check her out when it comes to parenting piece. If you're looking for the parenting piece, you can check her out. She has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to parenting. I mean, she's only been my mama for 30 years, you know. But my mom, like me, worked with children as a teenager herself. My mom started working with children children and teens when she was like 17 years old herself. So if you're looking for a parent educator or parent consultant, a parenting coach, look no further than my mama, the amazing Honorable Mayor LaWanda Vincent Tatum. I hadn't even planned on saying that tonight. But look, check her out. She's good. And if you want some more information with her, if you're on Facebook, you can check her out at LaWanda Vincent Tatum. That's LAWANDA Vincent Tatum. And send her an inbox for what you need. It is a fee. It's not free, y'all. And if she tell you it's free, it's not free, y'all. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's go back and look at a few more mental health disorders that children face. Let's look at a few more, and then we're gonna be moving right along. I ain't gonna keep y'all all night because one, I'm hungry, and two, I'm hungry. Let's go back to see a few more. We talked about oppositional defiant, and we talked about conduct disorder. Let's see, ADHD. That's a big one. That's a biggie. Now, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. People with AD may have trouble paying attention, controlling impulsive behaviors, may act without thinking about the result, or about what the result will be, or be overly active. Although ADHD can't be cured, it can be successfully managed, and some symptoms may improve as the child ages. So here's what is ADHD. Let's look at some facts and symptoms of the treatment. ADHD is one of the most common neurodevelopmental, exactly, it's neurodevelop. I told you it's in the mind, neurodevelopmental disorders of childhood. It is usually first diagnosed in children and often lasts until adulthood. Children with ADHD may have trouble paying attention, controlling impulsive behaviors, may act out without thinking about what the result will be, or be overly active. Here are some signs and symptoms. A child with ADHD might, why am I keep on skipping that H? ADHD might daydream a lot, forget or lose things a lot, squirm or fidget, talk too much, make careless mistakes, or take unnecessary risks, have a hard time resisting temptation, have trouble taking turns, and have difficulty paying attention. have difficulty getting along with others. Here are types of ADHD. There are three different ways ADHD presents itself, depending on which type of symptoms are the strongest in individuals. One is a predominantly inattentive presentation. It is hard for individuals to organize or finish a task, pay attention to details, or to follow instructors or conversations. The person is easily distracted or forgets details in daily routines. Raise your hand if you know somebody like that. Raise your hand if that might be you. That ain't me, cuz, you know. But we know children like this. We know adults like this. And now you have a name for it. Let's look at the other one. Predominantly hyperactive presentation. The person fidgets and talks a lot. It is hard to sit still. Boy, oh boy, do I know a few. It is hard to sit still for long, like for meals or while doing homework. Smaller children may run, jump, or climb constantly. The individual feels restless and has trouble with impulsivity. Someone who is impulsive may interrupt others a lot, grab things from people, or speak at inappropriate times. It is hard for the person to wait their turn or to listen to direction. A person with impulsiveness may have more accidents and injuries than others. Raise your hand if you know somebody like that. Now listen, I'm a teacher, so I ain't saying that. I ain't putting people out. I ain't saying my classroom is like that or nothing like that. But we know from day-to-day life, just from seeing kids in the grocery store, just from being around children at church, just from being around children in our family, we can see that oftentimes. And now there's a name to it. And then we have the combined presentation, and those are the symptoms of the above two types are equally present in the person. Because symptoms can change over time, the persistent may change over time as well. Why I can't read tonight, y'all? Here are different causes of ADHD. It could be a brain injury, exposure to environmental risk like lead or during pregnancy or at a young age. Alcohol and tobacco use during pregnancy, premature delivery, or low birth weight. Here's some diagnosis. Deciding if a child has ADHD is a process with several steps. There's no single test to diagnose ADHD, and many other problems like anxiety, depression, sleep problems, and certain types of learning disabilities can have similar symptoms. One step of the process involves having a medical exam, like I've been saying, including hearing and vision tests to rule out other problems with symptoms like ADHD. Diagnosing ADHD usually includes a checklist for rating ADHD symptoms and taking a history of the child from the parents, teachers, and sometimes even the child. Here's some treatments. In most cases, ADHD is best treated with a combination of behavior therapy and medication. And you can do it holistically too. For preschool age children, 4 through 5 years of age, with ADHD, behavior therapy, particularly training for parents, is recommended as the first line of treatment before medication is tried. So, like I said, I'm not saying I'm anti-medication and I'm not saying I'm pro-medication, but I love the fact that they are letting us know that therapy is tried before just putting a child on medication. Good treatment plans will include close monitoring, following up, and making changes if needed along the way. Here's a couple of more things about staying healthy. Like I say, it's definitely the eating habits. We'll get more into that later. Physical activity, limiting the amount of daily screen time, and getting the recommended amount of sleep. So let me go back. Let me stop sharing my screen so we can talk about that a little bit more. So, if you or your child, I said if you or your child, we talk about the children tonight, right? If you have a child that suffers from these symptoms and disorders, it is very much so necessary to get them to their pediatrician ASAP. Be in constant conversation with your child's teacher, and not just their primary teacher or not just their homeroom teacher, all the teachers, because oftentimes children may show different behaviors with one person that they don't show with another. But if those behaviors are constantly present in children, school age children, from one class to another class to a special to a recess to a lunch, you know, is there. But like I said, the stigma about having mental health disorders and things like ADHD stops tonight. Parents, you've done nothing wrong. And what you can do is get your child the best treatment for them. I did say, I whispered, I'm holistic, but I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical physician, because holistic can be a little bit different because it's not backed by the CDC, it's not backed by a lot of things, but it could work. But I'm telling you to know your child and know what works best for your child. So even if it's something as simple as switching their diet, that red dye that we're giving our children, like that's in the red Hawaiian punch and in those red Doritos and in any kind of red fruit punch that they drink, that can cause effects on the child's behavior. The sugar intake that they come take in, that can cause an effect on the children's behavior. All these GMOs and things that are in the children's food now can cause an effect on your child's behavior. So they could be ADHD, and the food that they're eating is amping them up or ramping them up to be more hyper or more inattentive. But again, I'm just a little teacher. What I know. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and stop with the talking about the mental health disorders. But I will let you know that there is help out there for you as a parent and for your child if your child is struggling with the mental health disorder. There's several others like ADD, that's a mental health disorder. We talked about ODD, we talked about CD. Um, we talked about depression and anxiety. Those are the most common ones. And if you want more information on different mental health illnesses or mental health diagnosis, excuse me, within children, head over to the CDC to find out more information about that. If you need help with anything pertaining to your child, where to get help, they do have a psychiatrist fine, a psychologist fine, and they have healthy eating tips that you can implement with your children. And again, if you need a parenting coach, and there's nothing wrong with being coached. It is nothing wrong with being coached. It's not saying that you don't know how to parent your child. It's not saying that you're not a good parent. It's not saying that your child is a bad child. It's just saying you may need some assistance with learning the different things with your child. And that's from child to child. You may have 3 or 4 kids, and at your fourth or fifth kid may need parenting coaching because times change and children are not the same. From one child to the next, children are not the same. Please don't let the stigma of what you may think, especially Black people, I'm just going to say it, especially us, don't let the stigma of mental health disorders put you in bondage and put your child in bondage. Get your child the help they need when it comes to getting a diagnosis, and then you go from there. You go from there to see if you want to do medication, if you want to do holistic, if you want to just do prayer. Listen, I ain't saying none of that is wrong, but what I am saying is know your child. As a parent, know your child, and don't do them a disservice because you don't want to say, oh, ain't that because there's something wrong with your child. Don't do them a disservice. And a lot of times as parents, I'm not a parent yet, like I keep saying, but sometimes we'll do our children a disservice because we had a disservice done to us. But that's a whole conversation that we not going there right now, because that ain't what this Tiff Talk is about. But I beseech you, I beg of you, if your child is facing any of those symptoms from any of the things that was on the mental health awareness list, I beseech you, I beg of you to get your child the help that they need. It'll make your life a world of difference. And also, if you have other children, if you have a child that has a mental health disorder and you have other children that do not, don't treat that child any different like making them feel less than because of their diagnosis. Because I mean, it could have been us, and it could have been any of your other children, and also because most of the time, mental health illness or mental illness is hereditary and it runs in family. If one child may have something, the other one may too. It's just not persistent. It may not show itself. But love on your kiddos, love on them babies, and get them the help that they need. And you get the help that you need as well. We'll talk about some mental health disorders and mental illnesses within other people, with women, men, um, when as the weeks go on, when we deal with mental health and awareness, because it is Mental Health Awareness Month. But I had to touch on that this one today with children, because today is Children's Mental Health Awareness Day. So that's all I have to say about that one. But I do want to say, as we're talking about schools and all that good stuff, it is Teacher Appreciation Week. Yay! That is a major week for educators. It says Teacher Appreciation, and it did start off with teachers, but this is Educational Awareness Week. You know, I'm not educational awareness. This is Educational Appreciation Week, where we appreciate all the educators that work with our children. Okay, because don't y'all know, it's not just the teachers in the school systems that work with the kids. We forget about those specials teachers, like the music teachers and the PE teachers. As parents, you know, when you're giving, now listen, you don't have to give you don't have to give your child's teachers a gift. But I'm telling you, as a teacher, it is great. Whatever you give us, well, I don't say whatever, but it's a thought that counts. But oftentimes, you know, we don't think about those special area teachers, like the PE teacher, the music teacher, the drama teacher, the computers teacher, because then it starts getting costly. But what you can do is, as parents, you can spread the love out. We love to be appreciated year round. But like I tell my students and I tell my parents all the time, the best gift that you can ever give to me is for you, meaning the student, to be on your best behavior. So even as a parent, as we celebrate teachers and all educators, people that are in the education system on Teacher Appreciation Week, talk to your child about their behavior. And if you can't, it's okay. We're not tripping off of you not being able to give us a gift. But the best thing you can do is have a talk with your child and say, listen, look, Timmy, I know you jumped off of the desk the other day, but this week let's try not to jump off the desk. Even though you have that conversation with your child often, let them know that, oh, this is a special week for your teacher. So let's try to, and it's a handmade card, you know, a drawn picture, all of that stuff is appreciated as well. But let's talk a little bit about where Teacher Appreciation Week comes from, because I bet you didn't know that it's a day. Well, some of us do know, educators do know that it's a day, which that day was on Tuesday, I believe. But did you know the origins of Teacher Appreciation Week? So it started off as a day, and it dates back to as early as 1953, when First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt persuaded Congress that there needed to be a specific day to recognize teachers. Shout out to Lady Eleanor Roosevelt. Now, this lady named Maddie Woolrich from Arkansas, she actually was the one to talk to First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, and tell her that Congress needed to push this through. She communicated with educational leaders to form a day to honor teachers. She got the First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt to push it through Congress, and y'all, it took 27 years. 27 years to get it to go through. But as of 1980, it became a national day. It first was recognized on March 7th. And then when the PTA, which is now the PTO, got a hold of it, they pushed it to the first week in, not the first week, yeah, the first full week in May. And then the National Educational Association joined with Arkansas and Indiana and the State Board of Education. They lobbied Congress, and it everybody else followed suit. So that's the origins of Teacher Appreciation Week. Now, like I said, we as teachers appreciate what you give us. I can't thank you enough. Um, if you don't know what to get your child's teacher, you could ask in a roundabout way. But most of the times, in the beginning of the years, in the beginning of the school year, the teacher tells you the things that they like, and you can go from there. Or I know some schools send out a spreadsheet and send that to the parents saying what the teacher likes. Sometimes it can be as simple as asking your child, because your children are very attentive to them teachers, and they know that Miss Vincent comes in with a cup of ice every day, that she loves ice and she loves popcorn because that's what they see me eating, or she loves Reese cups of peanut M&Ms because that's what they see me eating, or you whatever color. If you wear a color a lot, the students are going to notice that you're wearing gray all the time. So they're like, yeah, that's your favorite, Miss Vincent's favorite color. Well, my favorite color is not gray. I actually don't have a favorite color. I love color in general, except for gray. But they're gonna know that. They're gonna know if you are a lipstick wearer, or they're gonna be like, oh yeah, my mama got that lotion from Bath and Body Works, and they're going to tell you what they like. So that's another thing that you can kind of gauge if you're getting your student's teacher a gift. And like I said, we love to be appreciated year round. So if you don't get them a gift, then you can do it year round. And if you don't have the money to get a gift for them, listen, I cannot say it enough. Having your child show respect to that teacher, going above and beyond with the respect level that week, is greatly appreciated. So that's all I have to talk about tonight. I hope you all have a great evening. Thank you for rocking with me, TSV, tonight. Uh, and I appreciate the motivation. I appreciate the questions on what you doing, where you at. Oh, you got plans? Don't say that. I appreciate you sticking it to me. So stay tuned for some more amazing Tiff Talks. In the summertime, I'm working on rebranding and relaunching. So stay tuned for some great things coming from me. And like I said, for the month of May, I will be talking to Army vet. He's also he created a few movies, so y'all know how I do, and a comedian. And we will all be tackling the tough subject of mental health, mental disorders, and all that good stuff. So stay tuned. Keep it right here with me. You can also see things. We see it on my Facebook. You can also see my different Tiff Talks on YouTube. I'm in the process of uploading all of my previous Tiff Talks and interviews that I have done onto my YouTube channel, and I'm rebranding and relaunching that. I think I might relaunch that on my birthday. That may be a way I'm celebrating my birthday, with the relaunch of my YouTube channel. So stay tuned. And if you don't know what my birthday is, it's less than a month away on June 3rd. Okay. And then some more. Before I go, how could I forget to talk about this, y'all? Did y'all see what's going on? I don't know the school district that it's in. But have y'all heard about the young man that's a teacher, African American teacher, a young guy, and he is under fire and being scrutinized for students taking his braids out. Now, a lot of people are saying that is too intimate for children to be in there taking the man braids out of his hair. That's what they say. I listen. I don't know how I feel about that. So let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. And then I'm gonna be out y'all here. Oh, no pun intended. But this young man, so what happened is he's a science teacher at a middle school, I believe. And he has braids in his hair. And y'all, so he had a hair appointment to get his hair redone, but he did not take his hair out the night before because he had pictures, and they had camera crew coming in, he was being interviewed, all that good stuff. He's one of the best teachers in the school, by the way. um so somehow the internet got a hold of it and got pictures of, it was like 4 or 5 girls taking the man braids out of his hair, and they are coming for him, saying that's too intimate, that's too much. And see, everybody that was, all the students that were pictured taking his hair out were not in his class at that time. He took the last 10 minutes of class because the students had did good on a science project or something around that, of that nature. And he he let the best students, the students that got their work done, come to take his braids out the last 10 minutes of class. He also got other teachers, students from other classes, and he talked to the teachers, and the teachers were the one that made the determining factor if they were going to send the other little girls down there to take his hair out. So everybody that you saw, that you'll see in the video taking the guy's hair out, um the teachers had approved it. But now people are saying that's too intimate. He shouldn't be having his hair taken out. What do you think about that? Do you think that that was too much? Like I said, he's a middle schooler. Everybody's saying he's giving pedo vibes. That ain't my, listen, that ain't my place to say. I don't know. But he went on to say about how a lot of the students looked up to him as a father figure or a big brother. He had been at the school, I want to say 4 years. And he started off as a long-term sub, and then he got a position as a full-time teacher. And y'all, they are going in on this man. Now there are some people that are saying, that helps when you bring a little bit of personal, it helps to foster relationships when it comes to the children or the teenagers, young adults. But I gotta, let me find it right quick so I can tell you what to go to look at. It's on the Shade Room. Y'all watch the Shade? Y'all look at the Shade Room? 1 second. I'm all quiet. It's the most quiet I ever been. Here we go. You can now, you can, if you want to see if you want to look at it from a news article standpoint, you can check it out on Black Enterprise. Black TikTok teacher ruffles social media feathers with video of students unbraiding his hair. So he showed the video on his TikTok. He's a TikTok teacher, and his name is, hold on, let me make sure I get this man name right. According to the educator who goes by JQ Lee, Jacques, on TikTok, he decided to live stream a group of his students unbraiding his hair ahead of a scheduled hair appointment at a hair salon. After live streaming the experience, Lee was well aware of the mixed responses. To keep the conversation going, Lee decided to share a sped up version of the TikTok page where he asked 650,000 followers to comment your thoughts. So was he doing this for? This man was doing this for kicks and giggles, y'all, because he knew this was gonna get us talking. He knew it was going to be a conversation around this. While most of the responses on TikTok were positive, a more serious debate was sparked when the video was reposted on X, formerly known as Twitter. Black parents tap in. Would you be okay with your daughter unbraiding her teacher's hair? Is this appropriate? A user asked the Black Twitter community. And so on. So if you want to know more about that, go check him out. Like I said, his name is JQ Lee on TikTok, and maybe JQ just took a page out of some of our media people's books. You know, maybe he just posted for content's sake, and he knew that it was going to get a conversation going to spark views, and this would get him views, this would get him likes, this would get him shares, and this would get him money. Now I ain't saying that's what the man did. I don't know, but it makes sense to me. Anyway, I hope y'all have a great evening because my stomach is starting to rumble. But like I always tell y'all, I love you, but God definitely loves you more. Y'all have a beautiful evening. Oh, don't forget, I ain't. This is my last time. I promise. I'm really sounding like a preacher now because I said I'm done, and then I started talking about something else. Or like me and my mama be on the phone, and she we be like, "Okay, good night. Okay, good night," about a billion times. Or me and my auntie. But Mother's Day is right around the corner. Mother's Day is Sunday. What day is that? June 10th? June 10th. May 10th. So go ahead and love on your mommies. Get them all the gifts that they want. Give them all the love that they want. But this piece of information is for those for us to take in. when we have people around us who don't have their moms and it's hard for them, let's not downplay the celebration of our mothers, but please be very sensitive to the people around you who may not have their mother in their life to celebrate. Now, yeah, they may have a mother figure, they may have aunties, they have godmoms, they could have stepmoms, they could have surrogate moms, they could have whatever kind of other mom, but if their physical mom is not there, let's be sensitive to that. Like I said, we're not downplaying what we do, but let's be sensitive to those people around us. Or their mama might still be alive and they may not have a good relationship with them. Because let's be honest, some holidays are difficult for people when they don't deal with people. So let's normalize people being okay with not being okay on Mother's Day. Let's normalize checking on those people who may not be okay on Mother's Day. Let's normalize leaving those people alone. You have to know the people that you're dealing with, because some people may want all that love and affection because it is Mother's Day and their mommy's not here. And some people may just want to be left alone. And some people may not want to hear about you taking your mama to the Sizzler on Mother's Day because they don't have their mama there. Or even to the mommies who may have had babies and they babies are no longer here. You know, it's a very sensitive subject matter. So let's lead with love when it comes to Mother's Day. Not, like I said, I'm not saying downplay you celebrating your mom. And I'm sure that they will never tell you, oh, you can't celebrate your mom, or why you throwing it in my face. They will never tell you that. But what I will say is just be sensitive when it comes to that, because you never know how what you say can have a negative effect on a person or a positive effect on a person. So be careful and lead with love. Don't be like, oh, she ain't over that chat. It's been 35 years. You ain't even know your mama. Your mama died at 2. It doesn't matter. Your mama left you at 4. It doesn't matter. Be sensitive to those who may not have a mother figure, who may not have their mother or mother figure present. And even as with teachers, as we go in, because I know tomorrow we're doing things for Mother's Day. Um, Maybe your child doesn't, that child student doesn't want to make something for their mother or a mother figure in their life, and we're not gonna make them. When your kids are drawing their pictures or potting their plants or making their whatever, if that child doesn't want to do something for their mother, let them do it for themselves or whoever they want to do it for. They might want to do it for Uncle Bob. Let them do it for Uncle Bob. And they'll be like, no, it's for your mama. Or you will see your mama give it to. You just never know. So let's lead with love. All right. As I say all the time, I love you, but God loves you more. I'm out this time for real. Good night. Bye.